Special thanks to these companies for being long-term partners of this channel.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Zach. Here we talk about overlanding, gear, builds, DIY, and we also do a lot of awesome stuff with Toyota vehicles. Now, I would say this is more of an overlanding channel. This isn't necessarily a Toyota channel, but it just so happens that I really do like Toyotas. And I'm so excited to announce a new build coming to the channel. This is a 1996 Toyota Land Cruiser. It has the top of the line package with all leather interior. We also have the triple locked options, so there are front and rear lockers. This is gonna be an absolutely awesome build. As many of you probably know, Land Cruisers are solid axle vehicles, which means you don't have to do solid axle swaps like a lot of people do on the new Toyota vehicles. So this thing is an absolute beast off-road, and I'm so excited to modify it. Now you may be thinking, Zach, you haven't really built out your 4Runner to be insanely modified. Like obviously it's modified above the average user, but you don't have full front and rear bumpers, you don't have a rooftop tent. You know, how much are you really gonna build this out? And I kind of want to address that because I have been working for the past 3 to 4 months on lining up different build sponsors, as well as just doing what I can to be able to build this out as insane as possible. So without further ado, let's kind of walk around the vehicle. I just wanted to do a before of the stock vehicle and show you really what this vehicle has. And then, you know, as we go through 2022, this thing is going to change into being a much, much bigger beast. So if you like content like this, or you've been kind of on the fence about subscribing to my content, I think I may have pulled you in now. This is gonna be such an awesome build. And if you're worried, the 4Runner is still staying. So we're doing both now. Super exciting. I'm stoked, honestly. We bought this a little while back and I've had to keep it a secret while setting up all kinds of build partners and making sure that we could really build this thing out to be absolutely awesome. And let me tell you, about 75% of all of that stuff has been organized. We're just waiting on lead times and we're waiting on availability. Some things are back ordered. But with that all being said, this build is gonna be insane. So let's jump right in. So to start up front, like I said, this is a 1996 Toyota Land Cruiser. So it has a 4.5 liter inline 6 engine. It makes, I think, 275 foot-pounds of torque and 212 horsepower. So it's by no means a Hellcat engine, but this thing is a total beast and they have an amazing reputation for reliability. So it's going to be really fun to modify this vehicle and not have to worry about the drivetrain really being an issue. On top of that, this has a 4-speed automatic transmission. And from what I've been told, the transmission was updated in 1995 for the 1995 to 1997 years. And the transmission is much better than the older years Land Cruiser. So we were really looking for a later year Land Cruiser to get that better transmission. Got a single battery. There's no sort of extra modifications to the electrical system or any sort of mods on the exterior of the vehicle. Stock, I think these vehicles get about 13 miles per gallon, which means the moment we are going to modify this thing is probably just going to get a lot worse, but that's okay. We aren't here to save on gas mileage. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that the entire vehicle is black, and then we have all of these chrome accents. Let me know down in the comment section if you like the chrome accents. I really don't, but they do add a classic look, and so maybe it would be worth keeping them. The envisioned theory or plan for the build is to make it a big brother to the 4Runner. So we're going to match a lot of things as we go along with the build. I'm not a huge fan of this bumper up front here. It kind of looks like a big underbite or big bottom lip. And I just don't think that it looks super great on this vehicle. So we're gonna be putting on a brand new front bumper, probably some sort of overland bumper. In addition to that, we're going to be putting on much larger tires and a brand new lifted suspension system. The whole vehicle will need to be re-geared once we do that. And then we're also gonna add a bunch of electrical goodies like a winch, tons of lights, and so we're gonna have to add a bunch of stuff to the engine bay so we can run all of that. Now coming around to this side of the vehicle, currently the Land Cruiser is sitting on 16-inch rims with a 265/75 R16 tire. Now this basically equates to a 265/70 R17 tire if you're more familiar with 17-inch tire sizes. So about a 31.5-inch tire. These are way too small, and I don't really love the look of the stock wheel and tire setup, so we're definitely going to be changing this out. We're trying to debate between 35s and 37s. So right now, if you want to comment down below what you think we should do, either one would be awesome. You know, with a 35-inch tire, we're going to gain about 4 inches total of diameter, so 2 inches of lift to the whole entire vehicle just by doing those larger tires. On top of that, we're going to do probably somewhere between a 3 to 6 inch lift on the Land Cruiser. So this thing is going to be sitting real tall. It's kind of funny because right now, as it sits stock, it's roughly around the same size as the 4Runner. So on the side here, we're going to definitely be swapping out these steps for something a little more sturdy. Haven't quite landed on the best rock slider we want to go with, but we're definitely going to be putting some sort of rock slider on. Again, we've got these chrome handles, which I'm not a huge fan of, but again, let me know down in the comment section if you think we should keep the chrome. We got chrome on the mirror. We also have chrome on the handles, and thankfully a lot of this trim has been blacked out, but we might have to replace this black trim plastic here, as well as maybe some other spots. So it's an older vehicle. There's a couple things we need to swap out, but one thing I was super stoked about is the fact that the whole underside of this vehicle is very rust minimal. There's a little bit of surface rust here and there, but the frame overall is in incredible shape. So, and we bought this from a private seller down in the middle of Iowa, and it was just kind of a good find, honestly. They were a Land Cruiser enthusiast, but they wanted to keep it stock, and they only drove it in the summers, and so the vehicle is in excellent condition because of that. So many of you probably know this, but this is something that I absolutely am jealous about for Land Cruisers. I wish they would have kept this feature on all of the 4Runners because I think it's such a sweet option. And basically it kind of keeps the back of your SUV almost kind of like a little bit of a truck bed, like you can pop the topper, so to speak. But on the back of this Land Cruiser, we've got a split hatch, so the top portion pops up and then the bottom portion drops down. Now this is super sweet. You can, you know, sit on this tailgate. It's totally weight bearing, but you can also put a basically a tailgate storage, as well as a bunch of other options. Cool thing is we have a bunch of the original manuals with the vehicle. We've got a couple of repair manuals that are kind of vintage, as well as having a bunch of spare parts that the previous owner had. In addition to having some of those things, we've got both of the side bucket seats in the rear. I'm not quite sure if these are called bucket seats or not, but they're kind of the classic Land Cruiser seats that fold down and then fold up out of the way. Just a cool Land Cruiser feature. And so, you know, these vehicles honestly are not much bigger than 4Runners, but the interior space sits a little bit higher, and so they're able to, I think, just kind of fit a little bit more inside the vehicle. So these have a third row. Obviously you can get certain 4Runners with a third row, and so they're very comparable as far as interior space. So another absolutely awesome feature of this vehicle is these rear windows, and they act like a typical camper window. So if you've ever been in a camper, so these have an interior latch. You just press the button and then they slide. So obviously these are a little cranky because the rubber's cold, but then you can just open it like a typical camper window. It's super awesome. A lot of guys make magnetic screens that you can put over the exterior. And so if you want to sleep in the back of your rig, you totally can. And you can open up the windows, which I think is just awesome. So speaking of sleeping inside the vehicle, in typical Overland Engineer fashion, we are going to be completely building out the coolest rear storage system. We're going to have it be super comfortable, have an awesome sleeping situation in there, as well as a bunch of storage. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be super awesome. Also, on top of the rig, we're going to be putting some sort of roof rack up there. Up top, Overland doesn't make a Land Cruiser roof rack as of yet. I really want them to partner with me to design one. but we haven't been able to come to any sort of agreement yet. So I might be trying to retrofit one of their other gutter system racks to the Land Cruiser, but that's still kind of a design situation in the works. So, and probably the last thing to talk about is just the interior of this rig. So on top of the exterior being in fantastic condition, most of the leather is in quite nice condition, which is honestly pretty rare. And it was not something that was important to me because I really cared more about being in good exterior condition rather than interior, but it's a nice bonus. This does come with a full tan leather interior, and I'm a big fan of leather. I typically would prefer to buy an older vehicle with leather seats rather than a newer vehicle in a base trim model. But I just really like it. The interior is super comfortable. They don't make new seats like they used to. For some reason, just old leather seats are just so much more comfortable. I don't know what it is, but I absolutely dig the interior of this. And so, and right over here is the classic triple locking differential button or switch. This is something that is photographed in every Land Cruiser listing because people want to know whether this is triple locked or not. So that's right over there. In addition, we've got a full sunroof and a bunch of other goodies in here, but it's going to probably not change a whole lot. We may update the radio, probably going to add a Switch Pro system for controlling lights, as well as some other small modifications, but super stoked and happy that the interior of this vehicle is not completely trashed, which was a nice little bonus with the exterior being in such nice condition. It's pretty incredible too. The seats in here are actually electronic seats. So, you know, not all older vehicles have electronic seats, but these were fairly luxurious seats for their time and have quite a bit of adjustability, and they're all motorized. And luckily for us, they all still work. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Like I said, this is the new to me Toyota Land Cruiser. It's a 1996. It's got the leather trim package and it is triple locked. And I am so excited to be able to modify this out. We are going to be doing a ton of modifications to it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we're gonna be doing full front and rear bumpers, larger tires, new rims, full re-gear, as well as adding a winch, lots of lighting, a roof rack, and a full storage system in the rear. It's gonna be a lot of work, but it's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna try and do almost all of it ourselves. I'm gonna film it all for you and post it on this channel. So thank you so much, honestly, for the support over the last year or two when I started my channel. We've grown quite quickly, and being in the overland space, I'm not like Logan Paul where I just pull millions of views. So for all of you that come and support my channel, it really means a lot, and it helps me honestly continue to make more content, because while this channel is a business, it doesn't generate tons of money, and it helps me to be able to make awesome entertainment content on behalf of doing modifications to these vehicles, but I'm by no means a full-time YouTuber. So thank you so much for the support, because it helps me to be able to make this awesome content and, you know, modify these vehicles in an awesome sort of ingenious or at least unique way. So thank you so much for watching. 2022 is going to be incredibly exciting. Like I had mentioned in a previous YouTube short, it was going to be really exciting, and I think maybe some of you were thinking, oh, I wonder if something big is coming to the channel. You would have been right. So excited to modify out this Land Cruiser, and you may think that I'm maybe slowing down on the 4Runner, but that is actually definitely not the case. We're gonna be putting on a bunch of new stuff and trying out different things. Like some of you maybe saw in one of my recent videos where I put on the new Falken Wildpeaks. Half of what I like to do too is just test out different gears so that I can tell you all what I think about it. And I also just want to kind of look into different options like extra armor or bumpers or gear, because then I can talk to all of you on how maybe the best way and the tactful way to go about it, as well as, you know, how much you really need versus don't need. So kind of in summary, thank you so much for the support. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, or you've been on the fence about subscribing, I think 2022 is going to be much more exciting than previous years, and I thought last year was pretty awesome. So I'm super excited for the future, and I think if this stuff interests you at all, you're going to be pretty excited to see what we have in store for 2022. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a like, and I'll catch you all in the next video.